All right, folks, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you guys know, we're under a tropical storm warning at this time, so I just wanted to have a quick show this evening to bring everyone up to date on where we are. I know a lot of you are obviously concerned about this latest development. And of course, let me start the IG live so that Instagram folks are not left out. We just want to update you on what the latest advisories are and what is going on. Obviously, there's a lot of need for you to know, what's happening, what businesses are closing. So we've received some notifications already for the evening going into tomorrow morning. And we just wanted to bring you guys up to date on this as quickly as possible. So what we have is this pressure. I think it still doesn't have a name yet even. It's being called TS 26. So let us just have a look at that one quick second here, folks. And it is going to quickly develop. By the time it probably develops into a hurricane, hopefully it'll be far enough out of our region where we're not going to really have to worry about that sort of an impact. However, even a tropical storm has the potential to impact our lives. So what are we talking about? The government has just issued an advisory this evening, folks. So let us get right into it. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Purvis. Thank you. Hi, Ms. Nancy. Hi, Karen. Thank you all so much for tuning in. So all government schools will be closed tomorrow and going into Tuesday. So if you go to whether it's UCCI, all of the schools really, I think the education department has issued a notice saying all schools are closed. So that will be both government and any private schools. Some of you have concerns about what that means if you work for a private company. And we'll talk about some of those just here in a second. But the latest that we've received this evening after, we just received an updated one after 8 o'clock, but that was just some corrections to the first one. So boat owners, if you own a boat, you're being asked to go ahead and secure your vessel either on land or secure it in the water as much as possible, no later than before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And again, we're expected to have some severe weather starting deteriorating around 1 p.m. on Monday. So that's 1 p.m. tomorrow. The onset of tropical storm conditions by 10 p.m. on Monday night. And, it's going to be like literally right off of our shore. So we are expecting 40 miles per hour winds gusting up to 60. So that's going to be quite interesting. Any area that is low lying, which is, as far as I'm concerned, all of the Cayman Islands, you can expect to have flooding. So no matter where you live, I think it's always a matter of how much flooding you're going to get depending on the specific area that you actually reside in. But we know all the low-lying areas, pretty much, Windsor Park, most of Georgetown is going to be underwater come tomorrow evening. So you want to make sure you do the sensible things tonight, folks. Start gassing up your vehicles. I think there's already a line at the gas stations. The grocery stores, we spoke to Woody Foster earlier tonight. They are already planning to open as usual. So 6:30 in the morning, Foster's will be open, but they're gearing up. From tonight, they're making preparations because they anticipate people making some last minute grocery stops. This is why, we always say, listen, it's so important to have a plan of action for storms. No, it's not a hurricane, so I don't want anybody to overreact here. But always be prepared, folks. So in the morning, you shouldn't be rushing out trying to clear your gutters and all that sort of stuff, because those things should be done, especially during hurricane season, on an ongoing basis, right? So please, if you haven't done them yet and you have an opportunity to do them, by all means, definitely get on it and do so. You will want to ensure, for example, that you are gassing up your vehicle. So like I said, there's some people tonight who are already at the gas station, making sure that their vehicles have gas. Now, amazing as this may sound, you should never allow your vehicle to run it empty, but we all are guilty of that. We all do it on occasion. So these are the times now that you want to check that dial and make sure that you've got sufficient gas in the car, just in case, So Tuesday evening, They're saying the conditions are expected to dissipate around 9 a.m. on Tuesday, but heavy rain will continue through Tuesday evening with 3 to 5 inches of rainfall expected. So it looks like the worst of this storm will come tomorrow night, so Monday night. Be inside, folks. That's not a time for you to be out and about, roaming around the streets, trying to capture pictures or videos, whatever. Leave all of that for some future time. It doesn't take much for you to lose your life, for a tree limb to fall and injure you, or even worse, right? Sea heights are expected to be between 18 to 25 feet, with wave action impacting coastal areas, although there's no forecasted storm surge at this particular time. Boat owners, so the Red Cross is on standby in the event of flooding. As we all know, one of the major concerns is there are some areas that are going to be extremely flooded. And unfortunately, when that happens, that means that their homes are going to be impacted as well. So if you need to collect a little bit of sandbags tomorrow, you will know pretty much if you live in a residential area that has a history of flooding. So you should ensure that you are protecting yourself as much as you possibly can. If you need to go to an alternative location because of the floodwaters, I would say prepare well in advance. Don't try to go out in the midst of a storm, right? So I've got some people here trying to send us tips in the middle of this. Okay, so there are a lot of people who are obviously very, very concerned this evening about the weather conditions. But folks, we have been fortunate for so many years now that we've not had to do much of anything in terms of since Hurricane Ivan. We haven't really had a hurricane since then, right? So this is your opportunity now to, to simply get prepared and make sure that you are just as prepared as you possibly can be for whatever this is, okay? What other information do we have? Needs assessment unit is going to be closed from noon on Tuesday, October the 6th. I'm not sure why they're not closing tomorrow, but with schools closing tomorrow, a lot of people are questioning whether or not, businesses will be closed. So if you're a civil servant, if you work for government has said that they will be closed, and they're asking you if you can work from home. I'm guessing that you probably need to make whatever arrangements you need to make with your particular departments in terms of informing them, but naturally they're not expecting you to actually come into work tomorrow. You've got your kids that you need to make your number one priority. Yes, Nancy, thank you so much. We should probably prepare for power outages, folks. So if you've got candles or lights, make sure you've got, we don't actually have like an old kerosene light around here anymore, but we've got a lot of the battery operated lights. Make sure you've got batteries on hand. So these are just some common sense things that sometimes we don't always think about in the midst of last minute preparations. Okay, so thank you, Ms. Nancy, for that reminder. Make sure that you know that a power outage is probably going to come. We're hopeful that the water mains will not be shut off, or that you will not have to, you're not going to have to worry about losing internet and that sort of thing. But just in case, have everything charged up. So whatever you need by tomorrow evening, keep all of your devices charged, all of your phones, laptops, in case we do have power and internet. You can still continue to get updates online in terms of what is actually happening at any particular time. Let me just see what other information. The Port Authority is going to open the cargo warehouse on Monday morning, but they're closing at noon, so that they can go ahead and make any final preparations that they need to. So presumably the port by tonight is already moving containers out of the way, because as you guys will recall, the last time they didn't move containers, and that was just a nor'wester, the containers actually ended up in the ocean. So we would not want that to happen again. So Port Authority, I'm pretty sure, is on it. Anyone that is self-isolating at home and may need to shelter, they will actually be moved to the government quarantine facility. So as you guys will remember, we have just literally reopened our borders on Thursday to, was that Thursday? Yes, October the 1st, to people returning. And there's 100 and something people that are now in some form of quarantine. A lot of them are being self-quarantined at home. So those individuals cannot just go out and pick up batteries. They can't go grocery shopping for emergency supplies. So this is now where the, what do they call themselves now? They changed their name from Travel Time to Travel something else. But anyway, this is where the government entity that is responsible for supervising and monitoring those individuals will now have to make contact with every single one of them and ensure that they have anything that they need. And if they're not comfortable in the particular areas that they're in, or they might be able to ride this storm out alone, my apologies, or whoever is with them, government will then be moving them, according to this government press release, to the government quarantine facility. And that is something that they should be coordinating, I would say, from tonight, quite honestly, because at the end of the day, that could take a little while to move so many people. So all schools, again, closed for Monday and Tuesday. All government events that were scheduled for Monday and Tuesday are canceled, including, as many of you know, this was Older Persons Month, and there were a number of activities that were scheduled for early this week. They have been canceled. John Gray, I believe, is having a what's it called, graduation ceremony. That has also been canceled. So thank you so much. So Cameron is reminding us that if you don't have Wi-Fi, you can listen to the radio station. Cameron, I hate to break it to you, but most of us don't have a radio station if we don't have Wi-Fi, because we do everything through our phones and through our computers. Let me show by a sign of Instagram. You folks can tell me, just do a thumbs up. How many of you have a radio outside of like your phone? So if you don't have your phone, if you don't have Wi-Fi internet access, do you actually have like an old time radio? I was just saying to my girlfriend this evening, I don't have a radio in my car, but I'm not going to gotten 40, 60 mile gusts listening to the radio. So Liz says she's got a radio. Little BU has a radio. Anne has a radio. My lady, 345. Yeah, Euphoria doesn't have a radio. KY1, Kiki has a radio. Megan, Angel doesn't have one. So it looks like some of you have one and some of you do not. So Anne has, Nicole has one. Yep. Yanesis has one. Nancy. Okay, good. So there are some of you who do have a radio. Make sure you got batteries for your radio. Looks like I need to invest in a radio, folks. Because, yeah, I don't have one. Cameron, Mr. Arthur's is closed, so you're not going to be able to get any kerosene there. Only on our sound system, says Sue. Andrea, Alana, good. So it looks like quite a few have a radio, so that's perfect. You'll have to tune in. Of course, most of us are communicating in this day and age via WhatsApp and, Instagram, Facebook, and so forth. So we will certainly continue to update you on those mediums as long as we can get the information. Civil servants. So again, if you are a civil servant, you're encouraged to work remotely at home as of tomorrow. And then a decision is expected to be taken on the closure of civil service offices around midday tomorrow. So they're probably going to be closing a lot of different offices that are open to the public. Private sector businesses where staff are able to work remotely are encouraged to do the same. So this is one of the points that we have been receiving kind of over and over again about private sector. And a lot of people have been asking this question. If you work for a private company, and they're not saying anything, they're remaining silent, and what you should do, what do you do? Well, government has never been in a position to tell private sector to shut down or not shut down. What they do is they advise them to kind of follow suit. So once government starts to shut down, then they are being advised to do likewise. In my personal opinion, it's just one of those things that, listen, they should make it mandatory that if government is going to start shutting down, if government is going to tell civil servants to stay home, work remotely, then private sector should be doing the exact same thing. First of all, your kids are going to be home tomorrow. You've not had an opportunity to make any plans. This is not something that obviously we have planned for well in advance. So, what are you going to do with your kids? My opinion is private sector should just say, stay home everything's canceled for tomorrow and possibly on Thursday as well. But yeah, government has never, mandated that private sector has to close down. And I'm not always saying that with a thunderstorm, tropical storm warning, that sort of thing, that it's always necessary. But when you're going to have gusts up to 60 miles per hour, even if people can get into their workplace, you don't know how quickly conditions are going to deteriorate throughout the day. So why would you want to have people at your office, even if they're fine in the mornings, getting there 8:30? Why have them staying until 5, 6 o'clock? They're not able to, be prepared for their families, stop by the grocery stores, or do whatever else that they need to do. It just makes good sense to me that on days like that, you just give people a storm day or whatever you want to call it. Allow them to work remotely, which, to be quite frank and honest, have we not all seen how easy it is to work remotely with COVID? It's not like, it's unheard of. Like, we've never now not heard of Zoom. Everybody knows what Zoom is. So, it should be fairly easy to allow people to work remotely and work from home. And I know there's some law firms and some corporate services businesses that are still very much in that mode anyway. They've not yet returned fully to working in the office. So I'm just trying to have a quick look. CNB has made some announcements as well. So I did see that they have closed their Little Cayman branch. I've not seen any indication of what is happening with the other branches locally. But yes. So the government has prepared for this tropical storm. And they have issued certain advisories in order for you to prepare yourself accordingly. Let me just, right. So high seas, 18 to 25 feet is what's expected. All of the sensible things that you need to do in terms of preparing, now is the time to do so if you have not had an opportunity to do those as yet. Just trying to see if there's anything else kind of urgent, and then I'm going to just check some additional messages. So we expect that all schools will be closed. Hazard management, they have, obviously now been fully engaged, so they're on it. They're making numerous announcements about this throughout the island. Every single news media is obviously on this because we want to make sure that people understand what is happening and how you need to prepare yourself for the tropical storm conditions that we will start to experience tomorrow afternoon, starting at around 1 o'clock. So what else do we have lined up here for you guys? Let me just have a quick look. So what else are you guys doing in terms of preparing? Let me just see some of your comments. Buenas noches, Elizabeth. ¿Cómo estás? Hi, Rita. Thank you, Juanita, for confirming that you have a radio. So Leonie has a radio but needs to get batteries. So that's important because obviously your radio is not going to do any good without batteries. Josephina says, fill anything with water for toilets and dishes that you may have. Thank you, Josephina, for that reminder. Let's just have a quick look at what else you might want to have in your preparedness kit. So good idea about water, because again, sometimes the water gets shut off. And listen, if you have a water main break, it could be the type of situation where it is going to not be immediately prepared because, we, heaven forbid, we have any gas leaks or anything else. But speaking of gas leaks, we should probably reach out to our friends over at Home Gas to see what their plans are. But normally they tell you to turn off, if you have a propane tank, to go ahead and turn off the valve and that sort of thing. We should see what advisories they are putting up as well. So Simon Boxall, he's the acting deputy director of hazard management at Cayman Islands. He's talking about this. Basically, it's being called Tropical Cyclone 26. It doesn't yet have a name. So we will continue to monitor this. I mean, it's kind of like, what else could possibly go wrong in 2020? But you know what? We are on this. We are absolutely thankful that this is not anything worse, folks. It's just a tropical storm. And I know I say that with gusts of up to 60 miles per hour, but I think that we can definitely ride this out without any major concerns. So give me 1 second here. I'm just going to pull up a video that he has issued as well so that we can see exactly what hazard management has to say. So give me 1 second. I'm going to make that available. All right, Instagram folks. Someone will say, open the borders. I need clothes. I think you'll be okay without clothes for the next couple of days. I don't think that will be necessary. Just, wear what you've got at home. But in all seriousness, let's go through some of the things that you should have in your kit. All right, so I'm just posting up actually a quick story here on what the government is advising people to do. So again, if you're just joining the stream, thank you so much for tuning in. And we are just getting all of the updates in terms of tropical storm. It's just a cyclone number 26. So we don't even have a proper name for it yet. It hasn't turned into a named storm, but it's expected that it could very well do so. And it would actually be named Delta. So you will remember a couple, I think it was last week or week before, we were talking about on our morning show, the fact that that we have a storm naming system in place for hurricanes. And this is, I think, the second or third time, maybe just the second time in history that we have actually run out of names and the regular naming system. So when that happens, they then quickly move on to the next, what's called the, oh God, I'll tell you here in a second what it's called. We had this in the story and I've totally just forgotten it. But basically when they run out of names in the regular, they go on to the Greek alphabet, right? So that's where we're at now. We have moved on to the Greek alphabet for naming. So that's why the last storm that we just had was called Gamma. And then after that is Delta. So if this becomes a named storm, it will be Delta. But at this point, it's just known as cyclone number 26. All right, folks. So let's just make sure that we are prepared for this as much as possible. Any sort of emergency supplies. So if you have medication that you take, make sure you check your medication that you've got enough to last you for the next couple of days at least a week's worth. You always want to have at least a week's worth of supplies, right? Any emergency foods that you may need, water, medicine, any disaster supplies that you may need as well. What's the plan for your pets? So those of us who have pets know that our pets can get very antsy during a hurricane. So I have a small dog. She doesn't like regular storms. So if it's howling and the wind is out there blowing at 60 miles per hour, gusting, I know that Coco's going to be a little bit nervous. Not a little bit. She's going to be a lot nervous. And that makes everybody else in the house nervous. So you've got to have a plan of action for your dog. Some people do know that they have to give dogs a little bit of a tablet to calm them down. It depends on how crazy your dog gets. She is a small dog, so I don't think that we're going to have to do that. But trust me, have those things on hand if you think that you may need to use them. So absolutely secure your animals. If you have animals that, so Rosita, thank you so much. She said that she was listening on Instagram, but she can't stand all the stupid comments. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where I've had to do it before, and I'll probably have to do it again, where I literally just have to stop the comments. Hold on. Turn off commenting. There we go. And it's just because I don't know what is wrong with the Instagram folks. half the time I'm not even really reading their comments, but it's a level of maturity, Rosita, my apologies for that are really, really lacking from some, and it's not even a vast majority of the Instagram folks, it's just some, but they just love to troll really hard. So we turn off the comments and we're done. No more comments, Instagram. You can't be mature enough, you ruin it for everybody. Because I'm sure there'd be some people who might want to comment with something sensible. But yes, Rosita, thank you for commenting about that situation. So Rosita has joined the Facebook Live. And of course, the Facebook audience is always so much more mature. We just don't have those issues on Facebook. Anyway, so let me just see. Right, so, secure your animals. If you've got wild stock or animals on the outside, you've got to take some measures to secure them as well. So please remember that obviously, a cow being outside in 60 miles per hour wind gusts is going to be impacted by those. So try to put them, I don't know, where do you put a cow during a storm? Maybe you've got some sort of barn or some sort of facility to kind of shelter them from the wind and other things. Because it's not just wind that you have to worry about. It is also things like flying coconuts, right? So if you have a coconut tree, you've got to make sure now that you shake that tree down and secure those coconuts as best you can before tomorrow, before the storm really kicks up, because that coconut becomes a flying missile during a thunderstorm or tropical storm, and that will hit somebody's vehicle, that will hit people's windows and break people's windows, and you shouldn't be outside, but heaven forbid someone is outside. A flying coconut can literally kill you if it's flying at 40 miles per hour or whatever the situation is. So Morna, thank you so much for coming online with us on Facebook. So we're just going through some of the updates and reminders of what people need to do in order to protect themselves with this pending tropical storm warning that has been issued and that is now coming our way. So I'm going to pull up a video from Simon from he's the acting deputy director for hazard management, and he did issue an advisory message earlier today. So just stand by here. Facebook people will get to see it through this stream. Hopefully IG people can at least hear it, if nothing else, yeah? So just give me 1 second, and we're going to pull that up. Older adults, so if you have any older people in your household, in your homes, you're the caretaker, you provide assistance for them, please make sure that they are going to be well taken care of. Of course, one of our major concerns right now, especially with the kids, they're just kind of getting over being on lockdown from COVID. So thank you so much, Lenny, for reminding us of the Greek alphabet. The Greek alphabet, yeah. So next up is Delta. So Gamma was the storm that headed to the Yucatan Peninsula a couple days ago. So thank you so much for reminding us of the names on that particular alphabet. So if you've got older people that you're responsible for, you've got to think about them. You've got to think about your kids. Kids have been under an immense amount of stress lately because of the whole COVID situation. So naturally, this is not something I'm sure that any kid is really looking forward to, although it's like a day off of school, 2 days off of school still. So let's see what Simon has to say here, folks. Just stay tuned. Give me 1 second.
With the Cayman Islands being placed under a tropical storm warning, we can expect the onset of tropical storm force winds beginning tomorrow afternoon. Those people who have boats on the open coast of areas like Georgetown, Sevmont Beach, should be looking at putting their vessels in safe shelter and, if possible, getting them out of the water. We have had rainy conditions over the past few days. As a result, the ground is currently saturated, and as a result, trees are more likely to be uprooted in gusty winds. We're also expecting quite heavy rainfall at times, and therefore road conditions are going to be more hazardous. We will be putting one of the shelters on standby, and additional details will follow.
All right, so one of the shelters on standby, additional details to follow. Simon makes a very good point. Our ground is already saturated because of, existing rainy conditions. So it's probably a good idea to recognize that that means that trees can be completely uprooted, not just, coconuts flying around. So you just have to be as careful as you possibly can with those types of things. So again, folks, we are under a tropical storm warning. Weather deterioration is expected to begin tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. So that's Monday at 1 o'clock. And the onset of tropical storm conditions at 10 p.m. tomorrow night. And basically, it looks like we're going to get the worst of it overnight. And then by Tuesday morning, it should start to subside a little bit. Keep in mind that these things happen in real time. So we've got to keep a close watch on the system. Anything can certainly happen in terms of last minute developments, but this is the projected path of the system at this particular time. So we will be stay tuned to the official sources for information. And we will be, most definitely passing that information on to all of you to make sure that you are kept abreast of what's going on. We do have our morning show tomorrow morning with Mr. Alaric Lindsay. He is scheduled to join us, and, he should still be here, so that shouldn't be any sort of an issue. And of course, he's going to be talking directly to his the community members of both the Cayman Islands generally at large, but also to anyone specifically in the Georgetown South area, because I think there's certain pockets in all areas of the Cayman Islands that are known for flooding, and Georgetown South certainly has some of those in the Windsor Park, Walker's Road area as well. So I think that that's mostly what we wanted to cover this evening, folks. So we've gone from one system creating a great deal of rain, and just from Thursday, we've had like nothing but rain. We've been soaked to now getting inundated with a tropical storm that is coming our way, and we just have to be as prepared as possible. So the grocery stores are amping up everything that they need to do. They're making sure that shelves are fully stocked, so by the time you get there in the morning, they are completely stocked, and we will certainly continue to keep you guys updated should there be any advisories and information that you need. So we'll probably do a grocery store run pretty early in the morning to get a feel for what is happening there. There's no need to panic, folks. It is a tropical storm, but if you need something, by all means go, but there's no need to run to the grocery store if you're not truly in need of anything, because this is something that will pass by Tuesday. So I think it's a far worse situation if you are trying to inundate the grocery store and they're busy and they're packed and people are acting like, this is a scene out of, The Living Dead or something. We don't have to quite go that crazy. It's not a major hurricane or anything. Cameron says, don't go on the road for a cup of soup. It kind of is that simple, folks. You want to take it easy. Hi, Grace. How are you? Lenny jokingly says, hopefully we don't get to Omega. Yes, the biblical saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega. It's like people just feel like 2020 is off the chain crazy. Oh, good point, Lenny. Drain your pools a bit to avoid any overflow. Very good point. And yeah, any areas that need to be cleaned up, like around the house, any kind of small things that could be acting as debris, I would say by all means, pick those up. I always try to keep the exterior of our place as debris free as possible. But sometimes if you're working on a little project, if you've had a little pile of garbage there that you've been meaning to deal with and you've not had an opportunity to do so, then this is the time tomorrow morning to try to get that done in as safe a manner as possible. We've just received a PSA from the Water Authority. So let me just open up that email, folks. So the Water Authority of the Cayman Islands will be closed on Monday. So both their Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac offices will be closed. So normally the utility companies, once something like this happens, they will not turn off any utilities If you have been turned off, they will turn that back on. So I'm sure that this is going to be that same situation as it normally is. So Water Authority has just sent out a notification at 9:04 p.m. that they will actually be closed tomorrow. So if you've not gotten a chance to pay your bill and you were supposed to pay it, hopefully they won't turn you off for non-payment. But this is why you got to keep on top of those bills, folks. Keep on top of it. Let's just see. So the notifications will continue to come in throughout the evening. And of course, as we get them, so I'm going to post this one right now on social media. As we get them, we will put them up for the relevant authorities. And yeah, that's the best way for us to all keep updated and informed on what's going on. So that one was coming in from the Water Authority. So I'm just going to post this one up right now as we speak. And this is what we do, folks. We make sure that you get it in real time, as real as you can get it. So that notification is now up on Facebook, and it'll be up on Instagram here just in a little bit. So earlier this evening, 2 stories that we were trying to authenticate. One was a possible fatality in West Bay. We've not gotten any confirmed details, so I don't know if people are just out busy getting other stuff done, but we've not been able to confirm that as yet. So at this point in our minds, it is still very much a rumor. The other one is about a crocodile. Like I said, 2020 has been a little bit crazy. The other one is about a crocodile in our waters, and there have been some concerns about that situation. So that one was widespread from the early afternoon hours. We have not yet been able to confirm that or not. So we will just continue to monitor and watch that situation. So as soon as we know, we will certainly advise you if any of those stories are true. But as it stands right now, we will just say that those are rumors that have been in circulation quite widely today, in fact. One, the spotting of a crocodile in our waters, which isn't entirely, I mean, it's happened before, so I wouldn't be entirely shocked if that was true. We've had it before for sure. And the interesting thing about this is how close it supposedly came into the shore. Like it supposedly came like right up to, an area, launching area. So we're trying to get some confirmation and whether or not there's any truth to that particular one, but it had been widely circulated. And then the second one is that there was a fatality, or someone had been run over or hit by a vehicle in the district of West Bay. And we're still waiting to see. People did report hearing a siren and stuff, but we've not yet had any confirmation on those 2 things as yet. So folks, let's just stay calm. No need to panic. Obviously, don't go out trying to, drive around just for the fun of it tomorrow. Vehicles you'll need in good condition. Areas are prone to flooding pretty much all over the entire island. Water can get under your cars and cause more damage. So oftentimes it's best just to stay put. Have your game plan ready to deploy. If you've got young kids, then obviously you want to ensure that your children are properly taken care of. You have things to entertain them with. So if you've got toddlers or other kids, by all means, have a plan, because you need to ensure that they're not going to go stir crazy for the next 2 days. All right, good folks. Your emergency prepared kit. A few final reminders. Water, 1 gallon per person per day for at least 3 days. Food, at least 7 days supply of non-perishable foods. So that'll be all of your canned goods, your tuna, sardines, whatever you can have that you don't have to worry about expiring. If power goes out in the fridge, remember all of that might go. Battery powered or hand cranked radio, which we discussed earlier. Any sort of a flashlight, keep extra batteries on hand. Have your first aid kit handy in case something happens. A whistle, which is something we often don't think about. And I don't think I have a whistle, but in case you need to call out for help, if you somehow get in flood waters or whatever, having a whistle handy, an emergency whistle, to be able to do that is always a good idea. A face mask or face covering, plastic sheeting and duct tape, moist toilets, garbage bags, and plastic ties for personal sanitation should you need them, wrench or pliers to turn off your utilities, and a manual can opener, folks. Because remember, if you need to open one of those cans of non-perishable goods, well, you can't exactly do that if the, okay, hold on one second here. I'm going to bring up another.
Good afternoon.
You can't exactly do that if you don't have a can opener, right? So we've got another message here that was posted a little bit earlier from Hazard Management. So give me 1 second. We're going to post this one up on our page as well. I'll actually just play it here in the show for our Facebook folks so that you can see that. So while that one is downloading, I'm just checking to see if there's any other like messages from the utility companies or anything like that. So let's just check Home Gas and see what they have up. So utilities like the gas lines and stuff, always a really big consideration. Okay, so nothing from Home Gas. All right, I'm going to reach out to the folks at Home Gas and just see if we can get some information from them about what we should be doing. I'm surprised there's nothing in their social media pages. Okay, so leave that with me, folks. I'll see if I can get a response from them at least by tomorrow. Okay? Stay tuned. Hold on 1 second, Facebook folks. Let me just pull up this other video for us to watch. And this is, what is his name? This now is Hazard Management again. Okay, that's just loading up. So a big shout out to all of our corporate sponsors that make it possible for us to bring you the news as it happens and the way in which we do. So thank you to Miracle Broker. So here's a video from another video from Hazard Management.
Good afternoon. My name is John Tibbetts. I'm the Director General of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. For the past few days, we've been tracking, along with the National Hurricane Center, an area of concerned weather that has moved across and into the Caribbean Sea. Today, as it approaches the island of Jamaica, or just to the south of Jamaica, the National Hurricane Center has upgraded it to a classification of a potential tropical cyclone number 26. The track of this system has it moving west at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, and it is forecast to approach the Cayman area tomorrow evening. At that time, it is expected to become a tropical cyclone and pass through the Cayman area starting tomorrow evening. The Cayman area can expect cloudiness and heavy showers to spread across the Cayman area from about 3 to 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and the tropical storm force winds spreading into the early part of the night. Tropical storm force winds are expected to remain across the Cayman area until about 9 a.m. in the morning. Potential tropical cyclone number 26 as of 4 p.m. this afternoon is located at 16.6 north, 76.6 west, or about 90 miles south of Kingston, Jamaica. At this time, based on the path and the intensity of the system as well as the forecast, the Cayman Islands has been placed under a tropical storm warning as of 4 p.m. this afternoon. The Cayman Islands can expect cloudy and overcast conditions to spread across the area from tomorrow afternoon. Predictions are for about something in the order of about 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. So the Cayman area can expect quite a bit of flooding, localized flooding with this system. Wind speeds getting up above tropical storm force winds, up to about 50 miles per hour, maybe even 60 miles per hour in gusts. It'll mean that all boats should be in safe harbor in all 3 of the islands. The tropical storm force winds are expected to extend to the sister islands, and so even though the storm is close to Grand Cayman, it is passing to the east and north of the island, and so the band of tropical storm force winds will reach the sister islands.
Okay, so there you have it, a message from Mr. Tibbetts from the National Weather Center. So thank you so much for that advisory. So that about sums it up, folks. We've got to just be prepared. Lenny suggests life vest, which is always a fantastic idea. Thank you so much, Lenny, for that reminder. Cameron, thank you so much for your vote of confidence here on what we do, which is just trying to bring you the latest news in terms of what's happening here in the Cayman Islands. Hey, life, it happens. We got a storm coming. Like I said, it's been a minute now that we've not had a storm. So I kind of feel like there are a lot of us who are not fully cognizant of what we need to do. There's some of you who would not have been here during Hurricane Ivan, so you don't even know how to ride out of a tropical storm or a hurricane. So just some reminders. I think the most important thing to do is to stay calm. Graduation is canceled, so all government events, I'm aware, yes, if there was a John Gray high school graduation tomorrow, that's been canceled, as well as school has been canceled for both Monday and Tuesday. So your kids are going to be staying home with you. Find activities and fun stuff for them to do, because remember, we may not have power. Hopefully we won't get that bad, but it's a possibility that we may not have power for them to be on iPads and whatever. So have other activities ready for them to be engaged in. And hopefully some get a good book. Someone else recommended making sure that you cover your vehicles. So if you have a car that you can put in shelter, make sure that you do that also. I think that that's going to be it. So yes, stay safe, folks. We will be back first thing in the morning. Thank you so much, Morna, again, for the vote of confidence. Thank you so much for all of the Instagram folks that tuned in that were well behaved, and those of you who were not well behaved, shame on you, because you made it impossible for us to keep the comments on. But we will be having our show in the morning at 7:30. Alaric Lindsay again will be joining us, and we'll be talking about weather preparedness, as well as Alaric's thoughts on addressing the traffic woes, which if you live in the eastern districts, you are very well familiar with. Folks, I'm going to go and enjoy some family time now. I hope that you do likewise. We all have so much to be incredibly thankful for. We're one of the most fortunate places in the world, and this is just a little storm that we're going to ride out. Just be safe and do the things that you need to do. Lucille, thank you. Good night, and God bless all of you, and we'll see you guys in the morning. Thank you so much.